Yeah, so apparently on Twitter, it's going around that the OG Final Fantasy has a bad ending. Yeah, well, I personally disagree, and let's see what it is. Spoiler warning, just giving you a heads up. Okay, it's over. In the original game, Meteor is crashing down on Midgar. Eris has summoned holy magic that sort of stops Meteor, but it holds it in place, you know. It's not destroying it, and then the Lifestream comes out. Boom, that combination destroys the Meteor. All the characters are like, oh my god, bright lights, and then ding, ding, ding. And you see Eris look up from the light screen, and then the credits. And you watch the credits, because you're like, hang on, wait, is that it? What else is there? And then you see this scene, 500 years later. Actually, just in case there's copyright music, sorry, we're gonna mute this. That's just the way things are. But oh my god, it's Red XIII! He survived! Yo, and he's got kids for some reason. I guess he either he found he wasn't the last of his species after all, or he banged Cloud and had a bunch of children, which the date scene in FF7 Rebirth confirms. You know, as a Clannicky shipper, I'm glad that my ship was finally confirmed. Red XIII survived, and here he goes. He's got kids. Goes rawr. He goes, ha! Everyone's a winner. Then he looks over Midgar. It's overgrown. Oh my god. Did humanity go extinct? Are all the people dead? And then this. And then listen. Okay, so you hear the sound of human children laughing, and you can assume that humanity survived. Alright, but now they live in touch with nature. Either that, or that's Red XIII laughing in his real voice, as it was revealed in FF7 Rebirth.
Everyone's a winner!
Here's my explanation for why I think OG FF7 has a good ending. I don't think it has a bad ending. It shows Red XIII alive. If he survived when Holy and the Lifestream destroyed Meteor, then the rest of the party probably did too. Right? We can assume that they lived in peace until the end of their days. Midgar is overgrown by vegetation. Did humans go extinct? You start to wonder. Then bam! The FF7 logo hits the screen. You hear the sound of children's laughter. From this combination of sound and imagery, you can imply that humanity survived, but it now lives in harmony with nature, like the ancients did. Because even without Sephiroth and Jenova, Shinra's still killing the planet. Humanity's dependence on mako energy alone, that would have killed Earth. Jenova and Sephiroth are a completely separate issue from that. Also, this is from 1997. This is storytelling from a time when writers didn't spell everything out. They would trust that the audience would think about the clues given and reach their own conclusion. Is this a hippie message? Yeah, sure, whatever, it's fine. I think it's fine in this context. This is an annoying thing about this day and age, but I'm going to say this. Caring about the environment doesn't have to be political. Respect for nature, it's older and deeper than that. Like, basic, simple respect for nature is, like, ancient. It's kind of sad to see how it's kind of a bit hijacked these days. Lastly, I don't think that FF7 has a bad ending because Eris died, alright? By that logic, Lord of the Rings has the bad ending because Boromir died. The difference is that no one wants Lord of the Rings Remake where the Fellowship fights 1 billion fate ghosts to bring Boromir back to life, plus moonwalking. Alright, that's the difference. Okay, Lord of the Rings fans they can kind of accept that, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Like, it's actually a very important part of his character that he dies. Let's see what, understanding and, let's see what riveting comments we get here. You're such a fucking weird loser. The FF7 Remake community in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. So I asked them, how did this post possibly offend you? But anyway, I did think that was a funny one. This then generates some discussions over what is canon, what is not. This guy Rubicon raises an interesting point. He's like, wait, so doesn't Advent Children take place after the game, like 2 years later? So we know that they survive. Advent Children is 2005. This is after Sakaguchi left. It has cool fights and graphics, but it's basically fan fiction. It only exists because OG FF7 was such a mega hit. Notice how all this compilation stuff doesn't exist for like FF8, 9, 6? No, why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? It's because they weren't so big that they could be milked to death the way that OG FF7 is. Fan fiction, my ass! It was made by the same creators. Keep your bullshit takes to yourself. Your headcanon is irrelevant. I'm working here. Well, you know what, Akira Ramirez? I said I know. That's why I said it's basically fan fiction, because that's exactly how it reads. Plenty of bad sequels and spin-offs are written by the original creators in every form of entertainment. Movies, comic books, just books themselves, TV shows. Why are Square devs immune from this rule? How come Square's devs are the only people in the world who are immune from this? When we've just seen this happen a billion times, like, over the last few decades. So now I think we have this interview from Cait Sith here. This is where shit gets interesting and annoying, and I'll show you the conclusion I reached from this. EGM magazine. At the very end of Final Fantasy VII, we see the epilogue to the whole story that takes place 500 years later. So really, you have another 497 years worth of games and movies to fill in. Don't give him ideas, please, my god. To which Yoshinori Cait Sith is like the producer, he says, oh, well, you know, maybe I'll try to do that. In a way, I consider that epilogue to be the true happy ending of FF7. Well, it's a happy ending, even though all human beings are destroyed. Ah ha ha! That's the laugh. Now, you can argue that, oh, well, I guess this confirms that all humans died, because one of the guys who worked on it said that. Here's the problem, and they posted that with a thinking faces. Here's the problem. I can do my own thinking face emoji, because here's what Nojima says about the ending.
In an interview with Japanese gaming magazine Dreamaga, roughly 2 years before the film's release, Nojima casually summed up the 1997 game's ending. Though people often say it's difficult to understand, the message is pretty straightforward. Basically, because of the efforts of Cloud and his allies, the planet is still around, and smoke is rising from Midgar, which means there are definitely still humans alive. The theme was quite simple. Of course, any FF7 fan worth their salt will tell you no such smoke exists in the post-credits FMV. And indeed, just moments later, art director Yusuke Naora chimed in to inform his colleague of this. Oh, I just remembered. I may have forgotten to add that smoke in. The rest of the staff present, including Kitase, Nomura, composer Nobuo Uematsu, and Advent Children co-director Takeshi Nozue, all proceeded to laugh raucously.
So which is it? Which is it? Because he also worked on FF7. And this is where a more interesting conclusion from all this can be reached. Right, we're going to talk about here. Why do these devs contradict themselves? This is the conclusion that I will reach when it comes to determining what's true and what isn't in OG FF7. I just treat OG FF7 as its own thing, as the primary source. All the answers you want are in that game itself. All the answers you want about the characters, the story, it's all in that game. Don't look at any of the compilation stuff, that's just milking the franchise. And I'll say this, with all due respect, it seems like the devs will kind of just say anything. Like, these are the same guys who say, oh, we wanted to do all this with FF7 originally, but we couldn't due to hardware limitations, which is why we have now flooded the remake with a billion fake ghosts, Red XIII moonwalking, Disney musical numbers when you hit Gold Saucer, Sephiroth showing up every 5 minutes to say soon, hello boys, it's me, Sephiroth! I'm sorry, with all due respect, they've done some incredible work, but it just feels like they'll just kind of say anything. To me, it looks like they contradict themselves, they contradict each other, and sometimes they kind of just make things up on the spot. Like, apparently, I've seen an interview, Cait Sith saying that FF7 and FF10 take place on the same planet. Or the same universe. It's one of these things. I may be getting a detail wrong, but like, I'm just like, I just think that's dumb. With all due respect, I think that's, the reason I think that's stupid is because that dilutes the significance of both stories of those games. During the Sakaguchi era, let's just say the best way it runs, each Final Fantasy story is kind of a series of dominoes being laid over hundreds of years, sometimes even thousands, and when the game starts, that's when all the dominoes fall. And you're just like, oh my god, whoa, you just thrust into this, and then this happens, and it was all building to this point, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the most, every Final Fantasy, the story, is kind of the most important story that's happened on that planet. like ever. Whether it's 9, whether it's 6, whether it's 7, whether it's 10. If you put 7 and 10 on the same planet, in the same world or universe, it just dilutes the importance of it. It's just like, you just raise all these stupid questions. We're like, well, you know what? Maybe let's not kill Sin just yet, because Jenova's gonna show up. Why not just wait till Jenova lands, and then just point Sin in the right direction, wipe her out, problem solved. And then you also get stupid shit like in FF10-2, there's some character called Shinra, and apparently he's gonna go found Shinra later on, and that's why you actually see in the Shinra building in 7 Remake, there's a photo, and the founder of Shinra in that group photo has the same mask as that guy. It's like, well, I'm sorry. If that character in FF10-2 is going to found Shinra, then Yuna should take her Glock and blow his fucking head off, all right? Because that guy's about to ruin the world. That like, you know, you end up with creating these incredibly stupid scenarios and stupid solutions to these scenarios, and it's just like, no, keep these separate. Keep these separate, man. I'll say it again. You want to know what's true and not true in OG FF7, just treat the game itself as a primary source. Almost everything I've seen the devs say about it, it just seems to like contradict it, convolute it. It just seems to be like just new ideas they came up later on that they now want to retcon in to the original. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's stupid. I will just say this about the post Final Fantasy VII compilation stuff, all the stuff that came after the original game, all of it is poorly written. All of it. Crisis Core, Advent Children, Dirge of Cerberus, 7 Remake Rebirth. If you read the novels, the Leslie novel, The Kids Aren't Alright, you are way too far down the rabbit hole. None of it's all just milking the franchise. Maybe if you've just arrived on the scene, you might see it all as part of one thing and it was all just as planned. No, it wasn't. While Sakaguchi was with Final Fantasy, from all accounts, he was opposed to having any sorts of like spin-offs or sequels to these games and stuff. Like, the philosophy was each Final Fantasy game in itself, that was all you ever needed for it. It was all a self-contained little universe. Everything you need to know about the story is in that. As soon as Sakaguchi is out of FF, you instantly get Final Fantasy X-2. And the sad thing is, Spirits Within, the movie that kind of like bombed Squaresoft and is the reason he left, that movie is so bad that when Advent Children came out, we all just put up our blinders and were like, oh my god, well at least it's a Final Fantasy movie. We turned off our standards because we were in so much PTSD after Spirits Within. And the thing is, Advent Children does have some very amazing graphics for its time, some very fucking cool fights. Problem is, once all that post-Spirits Within PTSD is settled and you actually just watch Advent Children, you realize the writing is not good. It's very fan-fiction-y. And it does change a lot of the characters for the worse. I ultimately think it's unnecessary. And I just think it did damage to the FF7 brand. In conclusion, OG Final Fantasy VII is kind of the only one that exists. just treat it like that's the only one that exists. Everything else is on par with like Simpsons comics. Last little funny little Twitter foray before we conclude this video. I was browsing the platform and I saw this tweet by Professor Noctis. He's a Final Fantasy content creator. He's always been cool to me. And I saw this. This person dropped this, and I can't respond because they blocked me. This is me just doing a bad impression of his voice. Listen, I don't hate Sebby in the way a lot of folks do, but I wouldn't call us friends. But if you hate when I treat people with kindness and respect, best to block and move on. I ain't changing. The tweet in question is, you and Sebby being friends, unfortunately ruined you. Block. And that's it. So, now I just thought this is kind of a funny tweet, so I responded with, I'm sorry I ruined you. And he was like, yeah, he's like, it's alright. Seems like you saved me from a pretty fickle follower and a bad speller. So, thanks, I think. And he gave me a little Red 13, to which I responded with,
Everyone's a winner.
I mean, everyone was a winner in the end, so appropriate use of the meme. I gotta say, yeah, Noctis and I, we kind of just barely interacted on Twitter, really, but he has always been nice to me. He has never been rude to me, he's never been nasty, he's never treated me with disrespect, which is, he's always been civil with me, which is more than I can say for a lot of other people in the FF7 remake community, so I got no beef with him. I think he's cool. He's always been fine. Like and subscribe and whatever, you know, just so on and so forth. Catch me live on Twitch or YouTube, and get out of here, scram!